Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Real Spooky Stories, the place where I tell your real spooky stories. Hope everybody had a nice Christmas and we were all good and we all got lots of toys. No, I hope we all had a nice Christmas and we all had a nice time with our families and just enjoyed being together and had a nice festive time. But it is obviously a few days after Christmas and it is the 29th of December, which means the next episode will be January 2025. What is that about? Anyway, last week obviously was 13 Nights of Christmas and the week before was also 13 Nights of Christmas episodes. If you haven't watched any of them or listened to any of them, it is an episode every single day, all the way from the 13th of December up till Christmas Day, the 25th, and they are all a spooky Christmas related story. At 6 p.m. every day they were on, so if you want to go back and listen to them, you can. They're not really long, they're only about 5 minutes each, something like that. But we are back to normal today, and as it is New Year in literally like 3 days, I thought I would do a New Year's Eve related episode. So these are all stories I found on different subreddits, but like all paranormal and spooky and like weird ones, all about New Year's Eve and New Year and just people's stories around that time. So I think I've got 5 stories for today, and let's go straight into the first story. So this one is from the subreddit True Scary Stories and it is titled New Year's Eve Close Call. So on 2017/2018 New Year's Eve, my friend A and I decided to just hang out in my car, smoke some weed and watch the fireworks and listen to music. Pretty relaxing, we definitely giggled a lot. At around 5 a.m, I sobered up and decided to drive my car back to my street, which was about 100 metres away. I parked out the front and we walked back down my long driveway, and because it was dark, we had our phone torches on. Eventually, we both stopped in our tracks as we saw this big black cat-like figure snarling and hissing at us like I've never heard a normal house cat do. This cat was the size of an adult German Shepherd. I live in Adelaide, South Australia, and at the time lived next to the beach on the Lefevre Peninsula. Sorry if I've said that wrong. We don't have big cats here. It's a heavily suburban area. Everyone I've told this story to just said we were high. I wasn't under the effect of weed anymore. We both saw it, screamed. I took off my thongs, flip-flops, pegged them at the cat and ran away and got into my car. We hid behind the seat without saying a word for like 10 minutes. I drove down the driveway with my high beams on, flashing, trying to scare away anything that may have still been there. We then ran into my house. We were so shaken up and scared, neither of us ever spoke about what happened again. Every time I tell the story, no one believes me. But I know what I saw, and the sound of the snarl/growl/hiss will haunt me for the rest of my life. Oh, and I only found one of my thongs the next day. Has anyone else who lives in Oz had something similar happen to them? Some of the comments are saying someone put, maybe someone nearby had a big cat as a pet and it escaped. Somebody's put, I've heard some people can acquire such pets in America and other countries, but I've never heard of that in Australia. I don't know for certain if it doesn't happen, but it's definitely unheard of. There have, however, been quite a few puma/big cat sightings in Australia, but as far as I'm aware, it's never been officially confirmed, and also believed this has predominantly in Victoria. And then it just says a bit more about what it might be or whatever. They've said it could be a Maine Coon. They can get pretty humongous, and it probably wouldn't be a far stretch compared to a large one, to a German Shepherd. Somebody else put, maybe it's Tasmanian tiger. Someone else has put, it's not uncommon in Australia or the UK for that matter. Back in the 1980s, a farmer in England shot a lynx on his land. They've been extinct in Britain since the 9th century, given that the global trade in exotic animals is second only to the drugs trade in size, and that people who illegally own such animals are unlikely to admit it if they escape/are turned loose. I suspect that this is what you saw. Either that or someone has been feeding an alley cat with steroid-laced meat. That is strange. It's like the size of an adult German Shepherd. I know that is big, but I feel like it's not that big. Like, for a cat, it is big. Maybe it was just like a weird-looking dog and it looked like a cat, maybe. But the way it's snarling and hissing, dogs don't do that. So that is a cat vibe. And it's weird that it was New Year's Eve, because then you said you ended around 5 a.m. and then that would have been like New Year. So like over New Year's night, it was like a new animal appeared that night. Okay, that was story number 1. So let's go on to story number 2. And this is taken from the subreddit Glitch in the Matrix, and it is titled Switch Timeline / Dimensions on New Year's. This happened right before New Year's Day 2023 to 2024. Just a tiny note before I begin. I've never done drugs. I hadn't even had a sip of alcohol on New Year's Eve, and I am 100% mentally sound, so not a psychotic break or anything like that. I'm a very rational person and studied psychology in college. I have always found a logical explanation for things in the past. I am the biggest skeptic you'll ever meet, but after I experienced this, I have no explanations. Here's the story. It was New Year's Eve and I was messing around with my washer all day because for the first time ever, I brought a brand new, owned it for 2 years. My washer was giving me problems on that day. The comforter I had put in it was too heavy and it kept running error codes because of it being unbalanced, a safety feature. So it kept shutting down and turning off. I ran it 3 times that day and checked it on and off all through the day. I even at one point sat down and recorded a funny video to send to my sister saying I am literally going to sit in front of it and watch it till it finishes the cycle because it's not working. Another thing to note, I have a very good memory when it comes to visual things. Not a photographic memory, but I am very hyper aware to details and always pay attention to my surroundings. I know how my washer looks. It's a newer one with a stackable dryer attached on the top. The brand is LG. It's known for looking aesthetically pleasing. It's black and white and I'm very OCD, so I constantly admire how nice it looks. It's one of the only things I've ever bought brand new. I clean it once a week and wipe it down. The point of all this is that I know what it looks like for a fact. I'm very familiar with it, is what I'm trying to say. You know how we go through life and sometimes you don't fully memorise something because you're just so used to seeing it. However, if something changes, your eye instantly catches it because your brain recognises it's off. That's not what it's used to. This is exactly what happened. I was playing video games with my friends and midnight struck and we all celebrated the new year together via the online game. But it was time to get off and go to bed. So it was a couple of minutes after New Year's Eve, now January 1st, 2024, and I go check the washer to see if it worked yet again, to finally switch it over. I opened the closet to my washer and my eyes were instantly drawn to an obnoxious, very noticeable green and orange sticker right below where you put the detergent, something I would have noticed. Not a neutral tiny sticker in the upper right corner or something I could have easily missed. It's a spot where I wipe every week, a spot I would have noticed when putting detergent in. A sticker that's very ugly, it ruins the entire pretty aesthetic look of it. I would have removed it the second I got the washer. In fact, when I look at the sticker, I actually do have a memory of removing it and throwing it away when I first got the washer. I understand false memory. This is what happens during Mandela. You think that you remember something, but it's really your brain just filling in information because you never actually fully pay attention to a logo or said object. But this is so different. My washer was blatantly and purposely black and white and plain because that's what I like. I made it like that on purpose. It's the whole reason I bought it in the first place. I'm very specific about that. What are the odds one day I'm messing around with it, I'm really looking at it? If anything, wouldn't I have noticed it then? Taking videos, etc. The second the new year hit, I opened my closet door and my eyes are instantly drawn to it and I said this was not there before. I took a look at the videos I sent to my sister that day and where the sticker would be. It's just out of the frame, of course, so I can't say if it were to have been there. I've told everyone in my life about it and they all think I'm crazy. I could bet my life that the sticker was not there. When I look at where the sticker was, it makes my head physically hurt. I have since removed the sticker and thrown it out. Now looking at my washer, it looks right again. Has anyone else experienced something like this? Something they can say with 100% certainty? Something that cannot be explained away? Message/comment any questions. I'll answer what I can, but please help. I know if I was scrolling and came along this, I wouldn't think anything of it, but I'm telling you, this is 100% the truth, and I couldn't even come up with a story like this if I tried. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know what else to say or do. What do you all think? Someone's commented, I have to say, I believe you, but no, I don't think you're in any danger or at risk. And the OP has commented, I edited that part out. I agree. I wrote this basically after it happened, and I was definitely paranoid. Looking back on it now, it still racks my brain, but doesn't scare me. So they must have wrote, like, am I in danger, do you think? That's funny. obviously, like, just paranoid at the time. Someone else has wrote, yes, I've experienced something like this where I can say with absolute certainty this is not the way it was before. Someone's put, it is possible that you post all the pictures. I've heard posts where the item was black, even in older pictures. This happens so often, it's neither real or impossible to believe. I'm studying a theory involving parallel timelines based on two times being so close that objects can cross. This seems possible using quantum physics, but flying witches would be easier to understand. The OP has wrote, so I have a YouTube where I posted a clean with me, and I did see it on there, which really pissed me off, but there is still no way. There is just no way I would have missed it. I remember taking that sticker off with all the other plastic wrap when I first unboxed it. No chance I would have left that sticker there on the unboxing. Somebody's put, I want to see the YouTube video. Everyone's commenting, like, 100% believe you, being there, and, like, I want to know the stories. I just don't feel like, I know, like, they're making, like, a really big deal about this, but I just feel like it's one of them things, like, where it's there, and then your brain just gets used to it. I think they've just mentioned this in the story, but I think it's just there, and you just don't pay attention to it, and your brain gets used to it, so you don't see it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I used to have this little, like, sticky note thing that I would put on my mirror to remind me to do something, and after, like, 2 days, you just not see it, because it's used to. So I would like move it around to different places because you just get used to it. You know what I mean? And it's the same with, like, you know, just like things in your house and stuff where you need to do, like, just little things, or little things that you need to move, or little things that you need to, like, little marks that you need to just wipe or something. And you just get that used to it after, like, 2 days, because you're like, I'll do that, and then you just get that used to it, you don't see it anymore. I just feel like it might be that. And surely you've got more pictures or videos from your kitchen. Like you've just said, it's on the YouTube video. How long ago was that YouTube video? And also, you've surely got, like, other pictures or videos from the kitchen, even, like, just in the background, you know what I mean? Like, I think my washing machine sticker's still on the washing machine, and it's just never been took off, and that was from, like, a year and a half ago or something now. So, but I feel like I don't go out and see that sticker now. I feel like I've experienced this though, I know what you mean, kind of. I feel like I've experienced when you randomly notice something and you're like, that wasn't there. There's that always been there, and you know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's just something in the brain. I don't think it's a glitch in the matrix and it was like parallel dimension or anything. I think it was just your brain's just got used to it, you know? Okay, let's go on to the third story. So this one is from the subreddit Paranormal Encounters, and it is titled Happy New Year. I had a very weird experience on New Year's Eve. A little backstory, my friend passed away in September unexpectedly. He was one of the only people who would text me right at 12 a.m. It was one of our rituals for the past 10 years. This New Year, I went to bed before 12 because I didn't want to acknowledge the time. I have this digital alarm clock radio beside my bed that I've had since I was a teen, so like 15 years. I haven't actually used it as an alarm for a long time, but I always keep it plugged in. When I did use it as an alarm as a kid, I always found it hard to get it to tune into an actual station, terrible dial type tuner on the side. So here I am, laying in bed at exactly 12 a.m, my alarm clock radio goes off, full blast, tuned to an actual station, playing a song we used to jam to together. I checked the alarm was set to off. It's never turned on by itself before. If my fiancé didn't witness it too, I may have thought I was crazy. So needless to say, I obviously obligated to say Happy New Year out loud to my best friend. Oh, that's nice. Everyone's just commenting saying he was definitely telling you Happy New Year's in an awesome way. Thank you for sharing. Somebody has put, this reminds me of an experience I had when I was young. Not long after my dad died, the whole family was sat in the living room talking about him when the radio turned on, full volume, and started playing my mum's favourite song at the time. I was sat closest to the radio, so to this day, I don't know how that could have happened. Somebody else has put, it does sound like it was your best friend communicating to you. I don't believe in coincidence, especially when it comes to spirits. As a kid, I remembered a similar thing happening with a clock radio my mother had. It used to belong to her grandfather, and the alarm would always go off very early in the morning. At the same time he died. I'm glad your best friend was still able to tell you Happy New Year. I'm also very sorry you've had such a loss, and I hope this experience was healing in some way. The ones we love never really leave us, but that does make it easier. The OP has actually wrote back, "Thanks for saying that. It's funny, these past few months I've had small coincidences and chalked most of it up to me being overly intuitive because of the grief. This definitely freaked me out because it was so unexplainable. You're the second person who mentioned a radio contact after loss. Maybe it's a vehicle of communication that's easy for a spirit to learn. We will never know." The person's commented back, "I've started to realise when something seems like a sign, it usually is." Oh, that was quite a nice one. I feel like it was your friend saying that to you too. Like, if you would have said it happened before, it always used to come on before, like, you know, whatever, but this time you literally was like, it didn't set to radio stations properly, and you've never used it as an actual alarm before, and the alarm was set to off as well, and at 12 a.m. it came as well. But that's a really nice one. Let's go on to the fourth story now. This is from Paranormal Encounters, and it is titled The New Year's Eve Shapeshifter. This story happened in the New Year's Eve 2010. I'm visiting my friends in our city before me and my family starts our New Year's Eve celebration, when suddenly I receive a phone call from my uncle. My uncle asked me if I can visit them before our New Year's Eve celebration starts. My uncle lives in the countryside of my city. I said yes, and I asked my friend if she could come with me. My friend says yes, so we travel outside of our city around 9:30 p.m. in my motorbike. We arrived at my uncle's house at 10 p.m. My uncle is very happy. We talk, we eat, and we drink. But I don't drink that much because I'm going to drive back home. Me and my friends spend a good amount of time there when I noticed that it's already 11:30 p.m, so we just got 30 minutes to go back to our city. So we tell my uncle that we are going home, and we start travelling back home. But we've only got 30 minutes before the New Year's Eve starts. So me and my friend decided to change route. I know a shortcut road in that area, but we have to travel past the rice field. I know that road, but I don't travel there at night because it's so sketchy. There's no houses near that area. But me and my friend don't have a choice this time, so we choose that shortcut road. When we were travelling the stretch of the road, I noticed my friend look in the middle of the rice field and start shaking. So I asked my friend what was happening, and my friend answered in a trembling voice, "What's that thing in the middle of the rice field?" I was driving that time and the road is rocky, so I just looked for a second in the middle of the rice field, and I saw something, but my brain can't make out what I see. So I answered to my friend, "It's just a walking tree." Then I started to question myself, "A moving tree? Because that thing is moving, it looks like it's moving." So I stopped my motorbike to take a closer look at that thing, or whatever it was. Then I was shocked, scared, and trembling in fear. When I looked in the middle of the rice field, I saw a big horse, tall as a tree, but this horse is not walking on 4 legs, it's walking on 2 legs with hands like a human. This creature is looking in the sky, in the direction of the fireworks. So I start my motorbike and just hit the gas on it. My friend is screaming and I'm so scared. While we were getting out of that place, when me and my friend are near our city, a strong gust of wind hits us. We almost fell to the ground. Then my motorbike stopped working. I tried to start it a couple of times, but it's not starting. We were in our city, so we decided to leave my motorbike at the auto repair shop because it's New Year's Eve. No one is there to repair my motorbike. So we went home that night. In the morning, I came back to the auto repair shop for my motorbike, but the mechanic asked me what happened to my motorbike. I answered, "Why? What's the problem with my motorbike?" The mechanic told me that I need to pay a large amount of money to repair a motorbike that was hit by lightning. He told me that all my motorbike's electrical parts were burnt and needed to be replaced. And he shows me all of it. And again, I felt scared because me and my friend are sitting at that motorbike at the time it stopped. There is no way it was hit by lightning. Until this day, I could not explain what I saw and what happened to my motorbike that night. But whatever it is, one thing is for sure, that the thing I saw in that rice field that New Year's Eve is not human. Somebody said, "Where did this take place?" And they've put in the Philippines. I encountered a lot of this thing since I always travel. Somebody's put, "Not sure, but maybe what you saw was a tikbalang. Try searching it." The OP has put, "Yes, some people told me this, but I'm sure whatever it is I saw that night, it's true. I saw it staring at the fireworks in the sky." The other person's put, "I believe you. I've heard stories from my family about the tikbalang encounters too. They weren't harmed or attacked, but tikbalangs are known to inflict harm or sometimes play tricks on travellers. Countermeasures are wearing one's shirt inside out or asking permission out loud to pass by. I also think the tikbalang was sort of angry because your friend screamed. It disturbed it. Can't blame her though. It was a terrifying experience. Be careful next time travelling." The OP is put back, "Thank you for the info. I realised it was our fault. The tikbalang is doing nothing, just watching the fireworks. Next time when I have a chance to go back there, I would bring some food as an offering. That is strange. I would be scared as well if I saw a horse standing on two legs with hands, but just staring at the fireworks as well. It's not like doing anything spooky, it's just staring at the fireworks. I mean, standing on two legs is spooky, but like just looking at the fireworks is quite cute, to be honest. That cute little tick belang. Okay, let's go on to the last story. This one is from The Truth Is Here, and it is titled Non-Human Entity in the Window. I have always seen weird things and had strange things happen to me ever since I was a small child, but this was the weirdest and most terrifying thing I've seen to date. On New Year's Eve of 2008, I attended a party at a friend's apartment. The complex was big and newish, probably built within the last 20 years or so. I had a beer or two, but was not buzzed and hadn't taken any drugs that evening. Around the climax of the party, I decided that I could go for a cigarette, so I exited my friend's apartment by a sliding glass door and went outside. Behind the apartment building was a grassy area with a little stand of birch trees around 25 feet away. As I was smoking, I wandered towards the little stand of trees and stood beneath them, looking up at the apartment building in front of me. The apartment building was 3 stories high, and as I was looking, I noticed a movement in one of the 3rd-storey windows. Because it was night time and because the room was illuminated, I could see into it fairly well. It looked as if someone was sitting on the edge of a bed, rocking back and forth. Because of the angle of the window from where I was standing, I could only see their shoulders/upper torso, and I just assumed they were sitting on a bed. My immediate thought was maybe that person was upset, because I know when I'm really upset or stressed, I have a tendency to rock myself back and forth. But as I looked, I noticed that there were no distinct features that I could identify. It just looked like a solid black cutout of a person. So as I'm standing there watching this person rock back and forth, I get the creepy feeling that this person is suddenly aware of my awareness of it, like somehow it knew I was watching and it was feeding on my energy/reaction. Slowly it began to move about in a really unnatural way, standing up from wherever it was sitting on. Its arms lifted up and out from its body and began to basically undulate. It almost looked like pop and lock style dancing, but the arms were bending in ways that a human arm could not possibly bend, like it had joints in all the wrong places. Fear erupted inside me because I realised that it wasn't human, not even a little bit. I stood there staring at it because I could hardly believe what I was seeing. I wanted to run, but it was so weirdly compelling that I just stood there watching. As it was doing its scary arm thing, it started to slowly back into the centre of the room until I couldn't see it anymore, but I could still feel it there. I ran back into my friend's apartment, but all I could think about was that I was in the same building as that thing. I got my friends together and we left right away because I was so freaked out, but for some reason I couldn't explain to them what I had seen. Since then, I've told the story plenty of times and I've heard every explanation from shadow person to skinwalker to shapeshifter to demon. I'm sure of what I saw, but I have no idea what it was or why it allowed itself to be glimpsed by me, other than it wanted to scare me for the fun of it. Somebody's put, it was the spirit of wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Someone else put, this was exactly the image I got, just, a lot more demon-y. Somebody else has put, reading this gives me the willies. There's a lot of people commenting and replying about demon things. Someone's put, creepy, did you ever find out who that room belonged to? Did you ever end up going back before you moved out the area? And they've put, I did not find out who the room belonged to. If that was me, I would literally be like, right, I've just saw something in that room downstairs. Do you know who lives there? Let's go down now. I mean, I'd probably be scared, but I would want to know, what was going on in there. I wouldn't just be like, I'm never looking at that again. I mean, it's easy to say this, isn't it? But then if you haven't experienced it, if I was probably experiencing it, I'd probably be like, I'm never come back to this building again. But also, I would want to know, I would want to, know who lived there, or if no one's lived there, or no one lives there, you know what I mean? I would want to know a little bit. Someone's actually put, if you want a real explanation, go back to that place. If it's too scary, bring a friend. If you do so, it's your duty to report back what happens after that. The OP has put, I've actually considered doing this, but I haven't because I don't want to have to explain myself to the person living in that apartment. Hi, I saw a weird thing in your window. Can I come in your house and look under your bed and in your closet? One possible thought I had was it could have been an entity attached to whoever it was living in the apartment at the time. Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, I feel like I would, if someone was just living there, I would literally be like, I've just, like, been outside a few nights ago and I saw something weird through your window. I was just a little bit worried. I'm just checking everything's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I just, like, kind of a little welfare check, but from you. But at the same time, you don't know who lives there, and they could, like, kick off, you know? And someone else put, you could go there without going inside. You could see if, like, you could sense the entity like you did before. Because you could put, like, I could feel it there. The OP is poor. I wouldn't have problems seeing it again. I think it would be less alarming a second time around, since really all it did was waggle its arms in a strange fashion. I'm actually about to move out of the area for a few months, but maybe I'll make the trek across town and go check it out before I leave. This was actually 12 years ago, this post, so I'm intrigued. Did they go back? Somebody's poor. It was just someone messing around with you. You know. Yeah, I don't know. It is a thing. It is a scary thing. Or it could have just been, like, a reflection of something on the, like, from the other sides, and it was, like, behind you. Not in, like, a spooky way, like, the demon thing was behind you. Like, it was spooky, like, it was just something behind you, and it looked like it was... And then maybe you felt like you could sense it because you were scared, and, like, the feeling was just, like... I don't know, it's hard to explain when you haven't experienced something like this yourself, isn't it? If you know what I mean. But still spooky, and the way everyone keeps calling it a demon, I'm not into. And it also gave me the willies, this thing. This story did. And that concludes today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. This is our last one of 2024. Thank you so much for listening over the past few months. Obviously, if you've listened, I started this in October. So we had, like, a little Halloween episode, and I'm excited for the new year, and I hope you are too. If you would like to share your spooky stories, they don't even have to be, like, supernatural. They can be, like, real person encounters, just, like, creepy people even. It doesn't have to be supernatural. Just anything creepy and weird that you've ever experienced, or even if it's, like, you know about that your family's experienced and it's, like, a story that's being told down to you. I want to know about it, and I want to share that for you. So if you want to do that, you can email me, or you can submit your story on the Reddit below, Real Spooky Stories with 2 S's. It's linked below, or you can just literally follow me on any social media platforms below and send me your story that way. Or even if you don't want to send your story, give me a little follow, and you can be involved in what kinds of stories I tell in the upcoming weeks and months and this year. But thanks so much for listening this year. 2025 is going to be a good one. I'm excited. I've got some good ideas of stories that I can do. So if there's anything you specifically want me to do, also follow me on any social media. Even just comment on this, comment on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're watching on. And yeah, we can go into 2025 together. But other than that, I hope you have an amazing new year. I hope 2025 is a good year for you, and I will see you in 2025 on Sunday the 5th of January for a new episode at 12 p.m. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you have a safe and good new year. Bye!